How's it going, everyone? This is Maximilian bringing you day 2 of the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 News Breakdown.
Look into my eyes.
The announcements just keep coming every day, so let's see if I can cover everything right here. There's going to be a total of 8 new stages in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It has been said that there's going to be a mixture of day and night stages, and there will also be some unique ones as well. We have already seen the Snow Catalox Island and the unique Daredevil stage, but we have not heard anything else since then, and will not see anything new until EVO. Ryoto Nitsuma, the producer for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, recently went on record saying that the online features and aspects of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 will be greatly expanded over the first game. Of course, we already know about the Spectator mode, but certain features that were present in Super Street Fighter 4 are what most fans were asking for. Unfortunately, a replay feature will not be available in UMVC3. However, Nitsuma went on to explain that some of the most important aspects that were missing from the first game was a proper matchmaking system, as well as improved net play to take care of certain lag issues. There will also be things like rematch features, and many other online components that were missing from the first game. It's unknown whether this will be prevalent in ranked matches, but it's just good to hear that all the stuff that bugged us the most about Marvel 3 Online originally is going to be taken care of. There will also be a special bonus awaiting players who purchased the original Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when they fire up Ultimate Marvel 3. It is yet to be explained what this bonus actually is. And in regards to some gameplay elements, after many players have had their hands on the game for some time at San Diego Comic-Con, it appears that the magic pixel from the first game is gone, but oddly enough, overall character health seems to be lower, or that characters are dealing more damage. This is a very surprising change from the first game, but who knows, we're still early in the game's development. And now let's begin taking a look at some of the new characters that were announced. First up, Ghost Rider. Hell have no fury like a flaming skull on a motorcycle. At first glance, Ghost Rider looks like a pretty unique character, but there is some resemblance for him in the Street Fighter universe as well as the original Versus games. His distance method of attack heavily resembles Dalsum in the original Street Fighters, and I also got this extremely weird vibe that I've seen this before, and it kinda reminded me of Omega Red. Omega Red had several moves with a chain-like or his whip that came out of his wrists, where he was able to pull the enemy closer in and then suck meter from them. Sure, that isn't prevalent here, but it is awfully similar, and it's kinda cool to see Omega Red's playstyle that still exists in Marvel 3. I think they did a pretty good job on his character model, and he looks like a blast to play. And have you seen his level 3? It's dope as fuck.
Look into my eyes.
Of course, I'm sure a lot of you would like to see me use Ghost Rider, for obvious reasons, no doubt. But if I was to have a gauge, or a judgment of the new characters and the way I feel, Ghost Rider would get a respectable 8 out of 10 on my hype meter. Next on the list is one of Ghosts and Goblins' original enemies, Firebrand. Alright, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. I look at Firebrand, and I look at his gameplay, and it scares the shit out of me. It honestly looks like Wolverine with flight. It's a little freaky that he has a dive kick, he's got a command grab that you can combo into and then drag the enemy completely across the screen, an air dash, projectiles, and a ton of other mobility. The only thing I'm thinking he's lacking so far is an off-the-ground mode. Oh wait, his hyper OTGs. Never mind! Just from these initial impressions, and knowing how Marvel vs. Capcom 3 works, Firebrand is looking really good. But I'm a bit more puzzled about his inclusion in the game. It seems like Capcom's library and roster of characters would have been much bigger a selection, rather than a boss enemy from an old Nintendo game or a recently re-released PSP game that was a remake of an old Nintendo game. Although, I digress, it's just an opinion based off what we're seeing right now. I was just really hoping to see Jin or Captain Commando make it into this game. That being said, Firebrand gets a 6 out of 10 on my personal hype meter. The next one to step into the roster from Marvel is HAWKEYE. So once again, I'm going to be brutally honest. I first saw the character box art for this game and I saw HAWKEYE right on the front, and then I saw some in-game images of him, and I didn't know what to think and I didn't know who this was. You could blame this on my sheer idiocy for current Marvel comic generations. Like a lot of you guys probably listening, we grew up in the 90s era of comics with the Jim Lee X-Men, which were heavily represented in the original Marvel vs. Capcom games. And not being into comic lore as of late at all, seeing HAWKEYE is pretty puzzling. At first he looks simply like a Taskmaster clone, I was even arguing that it looks like he has the same moveset when I first saw him. However, I was quickly proven wrong. Hawkeye actually looks to be one of the first official and raw status characters of Marvel 3. There have been several other characters in this game that change status elements. For example, Amaterasu and Beautiful Joe both have status-changing supers that makes the enemy slow. It's not nearly seen as much, but MODOK also has the ability to reverse your controls. There might also be a few more, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But what it seems they're doing with Hawkeye is making him a full status and zoning character. Recently in that interview with Ryota Nitsuma we were talking before, he actually mentioned that there's nearly 20 status-changing effects on his arrow moves. Now, who knows what this means in the future, but so far in gameplay videos we've seen an Poison Arrow, which actually does damage over time. We've seen an arrow that drops the enemy straight to the ground like it has a weight on it, and there's gonna be a ton more. So I was pretty bummed out when I first saw Hawkeye in this generic Taskmaster clone, but after learning more, this sounds pretty cool. It sounds like a character that's completely unique to Marvel 3 if they're dedicating his playstyle to being a status changer. And for that fact alone, Hawkeye gets a 7 out of 10 on my personal hype meter.
You're not rash if you can back it up.
And that's gonna just about do it for all the characters that were announced for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, but I feel like I'm missing someone, like there's a special character that I'm leaving out. Yeah, I'm actually gonna save a complete episode for Strider because there's so much that I want to talk about. And in that episode, we'll talk about all the other characters. It's pretty much fair game right now, and the entire cast for Marvel vs. Capcom 3 has actually been leaked. I'm gonna recap and analyze all the 8 other characters that were leaked, and then also talk about some controversial subjects of characters not appearing in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I don't think you guys should be losing hope for the Blue Bomber just yet. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time on the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Breakdown. Peace!